You'd have been with some. Very nice. Did you ever wear gloves with your short
I certainly
sleeves?
didn't do the gloves thing, no, that's for sure.
Proper footballer, Francis Bernali. Down the right-hand side comes City. Here's Bernardo Silva up against Monreal. Bernardo Silva to make a run. He didn't make it, so he's decided to go crossfield to Sterling onto his right foot, cross towards the back post. Bernardo Silva will keep it alive. His header comes back towards De Bruyne. Very nice. Did you ever wear gloves with your short sleeves?
I certainly didn't do the gloves thing, no, that's for sure.
Proper footballer, Francis Bernali. Down the right-hand side comes City. Here's Bernardo Silva up against Monreal. Won it. Walker stayed on his feet. And one possession. Bernardo Silva to make a run. He didn't make it, so he's decided to go crossfield to Sterling onto his right foot, cross towards him. Bernardo Silva will keep it alive. His header comes back towards De Bruyne. Very nice. Did you ever wear gloves with your
I certainly didn't do the gloves thing, no, that's for sure.
Proper footballer, Francis Bernali. Down the right-hand side comes City. Here's Bernardo Silva up against Monreal. He won it. Walker stayed on his feet. And one possession. Bernardo Silva to make a run. He didn't make it, so he's decided to go crossfield to Sterling onto his right foot, cross towards him. Bernardo Silva will keep it alive. His header comes back towards him. And he just held himself and waited for the contact from Bernard Laporte. And the 22-year-old Uruguayan gets a free kick for his troubles. The knee in the back, that could easily be painful actually for him.
Lacazette wasn't too happy with the challenge from Otamendi in the last Arsenal attack and build-up. I think they just want to get onto Martin Atkinson to keep an eye on the physicality that the City defenders are, the challenges they're putting in on the Arsenal strikers. Anyone
that thinks that Manchester City are just a team with great skills that like it on the ground and play beautiful football and can't mix it when it gets physical need only watch the first 20 minutes of this game as Sergio Aguero ensures they're in a similar vein that Laurent Koscielny, in sliding it out of play, also got a bit of a nudge too. Free kick taken, dropped to De Bruyne. De Bruyne comes back to Fernandinho. Fernandinho towards Laporte. Outside of him would be Sterling. Instead he uses Silva. Now it is onto Sterling. Level with the edge of the 18-yard box. Cuts back onto his right foot. He's done that every time so far that he's had the ball near enough. Just wonder sometimes whether it's worth trying to take it to the byline and use your left. De Bruyne's ball into the box towards Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva's cut back, and guess who's there again? It's Torreira, corner to Manchester City.
Again, wonderful tracking from Torreira, recognising that danger. It's a wonderful weighted pass and a timed run from De Bruyne, but just wonder whether the ball from Silva, not quite sure who it was making a run across the near post from City, but might have been the better option. Again, they win a corner from that last attack.
Gundogan to take it. Guendouzi just looked like he lost his man there for a moment. It's gone beyond them. There's more claims for a penalty. The referee spotted something the other way. Fernandinho's given away the free kick on Koscielny, and it's an Arsenal free kick.
You always wonder when you see these balls coming into the box. There's a bit of wrestling from Guendouzi actually, and seeing two Man City players end up on the floor. There was a big roar from the home supporters. Martin Atkinson feeling he didn't see anything wrong to award a penalty at all. Arsenal again just doing a bit defensively from that corner.
Long one finds Kolasinac, who's playing in a really advanced role today actually. Kolasinac, good clearance finding Aubameyang into Lacazette here. What's on for him? Couple of blue shirts around him, forces him back to Guendouzi. He's spotted Iwobi right hand side. What can Arsenal make of this attack here? Iwobi bounces off of Laporte and gives it to Torreira, who had a little look over his left shoulder, thought it was too risky a ball to play and just kept possession by giving it to Mustafi, who then wasted himself. But City go long. That should be Koscielny underneath it, but his header away drops only to Bernardo Silva, and this is Silva into Raheem Sterling, just forcing him wider than he might have liked. Left hand side of the 18-yard box, didn't cross in towards Aguero, who suddenly, almost comically, looked behind him thinking, well, someone will be onto that, and then realised there was nobody there and quickly chased it, but an offside flag has gone up and it's a free kick to Arsenal at the back.
I think he realised he was in an offside position initially. The ball didn't come in as early as what he would have liked maybe, and he almost tried pausing, I think, in the hope that one of his teammates would be around the far post and behind him, but it wasn't to be, and the official's flag went up. But City are moving the ball really well. As you mentioned before, there's a good tempo and a pace to this game, but Arsenal are playing their part as well, but they need to try and keep that ball a little bit better than what they've done so far.
Ikan Kadivo's got in touch, watching from Accra, Ghana. City need to win to maintain the balance of the universe. No title for Liverpool. Well, I hate to tell you, but Liverpool have indeed won a few titles in their past. I'm sure you're well aware of that, but for those of us for whom the Premier League is the only football that's ever existed, I'd take the point that you're probably trying to make. Here's Bernardo Silva trying the cross, blocked by Monreal. And then round the corner by Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne just waiting, and Monreal dishing some out to De Bruyne a little bit more there. A good old nudge, which he didn't need to do with his teammate running onto the ball, but that's the sort of thing that we're talking about with this physicality here. De Bruyne just carrying on, no complaints, as David Silva has it 25 yards from goal to Gundogan. Gundogan to the left-hand side, and Sterling. De Bruyne made a run, decided not to find him, instead delivers the ball in, away by Koscielny. He's been excellent actually in the first 26 minutes or so as Laurent Koscielny, quite apart from the goal that he scored. And here's Laporte to Sterling again, just inside the Arsenal half now. Iwobi comes in on him. Tackle doesn't emerge with possession for those in red though, and it's with Kyle Walker. Are you surprised to see two plots of three at the back today? Or is it just circumstance, particularly for Arsenal?
I think obviously the injuries maybe played a part in Arsenal.
Hi, I'm Alex Beckham.
Again. Very close. He made his way into the area. Kyle Walker wanted the flag to go up, that's for sure, but no damage done. Goal kick for Manchester City.
It's a promising bit of play from Arsenal down the left-hand side, but Kolasinac, when he was striking the ball, he certainly didn't have any Arsenal teammates close to him.
Kyle Walker looking for a really incisive ball up towards Aguero. Didn't come off. The clearance by Torreira though hits the referee Martin Atkinson and might fall very kindly for Manchester City. Bernardo Silva's attempted through ball comes back to Kevin De Bruyne, who's smashed volley towards goal from a really kind of awkward height, almost knee height, goes flying over Bernd Leno's goal.
I wonder if referees, when that happens, are almost thinking, please don't score, please don't score.
I'm sure they are.
I'm playing my part in this goal, possibly.
Well, you always hear referees, on the odd occasion you do hear them talk, say, my best game is the one where I never get talked about.
Very true.
You don't want to be part of anything controversial as a referee, and Martin Atkinson, lucky that he wasn't on that occasion. Here is Bernardo Silva towards Raheem Sterling. Mustafi got there first. Monreal tries the little burst away from Kevin De Bruyne, who sticks out a leg, and the Spaniard happy and grateful to go over it and win a free kick for his side.
As we approach 30 minutes of the game, Toby, I think Arsenal would almost becoming the side that will be happier with the way the game has gone so far. And they're keeping City at bay. They haven't had a huge amount of the ball themselves, admittedly, but they're very much in this game at one each.
Might get away there as Aubameyang one possession high up the field, but Gundogan was there to intervene. Long ball away by City, header from Mustafi, I think, and out of play it goes for a throw into City, midpoint of their own half, left-hand side, and the smallest of ball kids comes across to give it to Bernard Laporte and handed it to him rather than throwing it at him, like you see ball boys in tennis, say, for example. I think it was just an opportunity to be close to one of the footballers, wasn't it? It was a lovely moment. Here's Kyle Walker on the right-hand side now for City, over the halfway line. Arsenal, quite clearly a different sort of final third, really, of the pitch. And it's just, can City play through them? They're doing so now, but once again there is a player in the way. It was Torreira, and away it goes towards halfway. But then Arsenal have so much ground to make up, it allows City to get back into their own half. But once again they can't play it through because Guendouzi is there, and now he's in possession and he can break forward over the halfway line with Gundogan in pursuit. So he lays it off to the right hand side to Iwobi. Only Aubameyang in the box to aim for. Iwobi makes his way in there over, headed back out to the right hand side by Lichtsteiner. Iwobi cross comes in, it's smacked away, and Guendouzi will pick it up towards the halfway line, play it back into his own half and with Mustafi. But when they're in possession, Arsenal, they've allowed City onto them to such an extent that there is space beyond them, which I guess is a tactic with the pace of Aubameyang and Lacazette.
It's a decent spell of possession for them as well, probably the best that they've had in the game so far, to be honest. You know, a decent attempt, last attack down the right hand side, but they're playing the ball round a little bit like City have done for most of the game, but it gives you a little breather as well, rather than having to do that defensive work, you know, without the ball. It's much better playing with the ball and in possession of it, so it gives you that little breather, as strange as it sounds, when you are in possession of the football. Manchester
City have already dropped more points this season than in the entirety of last season. They've still got an extraordinary record, really, 56 points from their 24 games, but Liverpool almost impenetrable in many ways this season, as Walker manages to get on the end of Monreal's throw in, and City have it back, and they've worked it to Bernardo Silva on the right. Now here's David Silva. Aubameyang gets back in and wins it back for Arsenal. Run kindly for Guendouzi. Moving to the left hand side, couple of step overs away from David Silva. Now Kolasinac into Lacazette, and Guendouzi spreads it to the right hand side for Lichtsteiner, the 35-year-old Swiss. Gives it to Iwobi, who's been quiet so far. On to Lichtsteiner. This is a good crossing opportunity towards Aubameyang. Got a vital flick on at the edge of his 6-yard box, did Otamendi, to take it away from Aubameyang, who would have had a free header to give Arsenal the lead there. Good defending though from the Argentine, and City have it with Fernandinho.
Great play from Arsenal, but what a crucial header, as you say, Toby, from Otamendi. Dangerous delivery in the box from Lichtsteiner. It was good play from Arsenal. They're coming back very much into this game, but City's just looking to break again. Fernandinho winning a free kick by Torreira's challenge.
And it's taken short and square by Fernandinho, quickly to Raheem Sterling. They are fallible, Manchester City, we know that. They're fallible even here at the Etihad. Laporte comes back to Otamendi. Kyle Walker, they're certainly giving up chances in a way they didn't last season. For me, and he is still injured, so it's not something that Pep Guardiola can do about it. They need that calming influence of company, I think. They really miss the captain when he's not there. Here's Laporte. Laporte with the cross that's very deep, but straight into the arms and far too close to Bernd Leno.
Unusual one for City. You don't often see them just putting crosses into the box from that deep and that wide, really, do you? They're looking for those short little passes, 1-2s in and around the box. Maybe a little bit of the sign of the frustration the way the last 5 or so minutes are gone for City.
There's an element in them that, you know, what was working all the time last season, it isn't quite working all the time at the moment, so they feel obliged to try something different, because I don't think Pep would like that, would he? He sticks to his principles no matter what.
Yeah, no, exactly. You know, I'm sure Pep would still want them to keep pursuing what their style of football is that we see them do so often. But
players are human. It must be difficult to do that when things aren't necessarily going your way.
No, very true. Yeah, but you don't want to be predictable at the same time either, Toby, do you? So, you know, it is a case of sometimes mixing things up a little bit.
That's a decent attempt to get the ball up towards Raheem Sterling. Lichtsteiner backpedaling, got his head to it, but can only turn it behind for a corner. Lovely long ball that from the right back from Kyle Walker, all the way up towards Sterling.
I guess there's an example of mixing things up. You know, it doesn't always have to be that pass, work away up the pitch. Sometimes it's not the long ball if it is a direct pass with quality.
Otamendi can be a threat in these. Aguero looks free in the box. It's gone in towards the centre of the 6-yard box. Away it goes by Monreal as far as Walker. Bernardo Silva will pick it up. Out to the right-hand side to Fernandinho with Guendouzi nearby. Manages to turn it infield towards Walker. Iwobi's there to nick it off of him. And here's Lacazette. Ball got caught under his feet, but he's bounced off the defender and played the ball through to Aubameyang. And Ederson's starting position, always so advanced, allowed him to get there before the lightning-quick Gabonese.
Well, what a crucial bit of play from Ederson. It was great play from Iwobi, winning the ball back, played it into Lacazette. He fielded off the challenge from Bernardo Silva. It was a wonderful pass through, and Aubameyang would have been away with a one-on-one with Ederson, but he raced down his goal, cleared the danger. Good sweeping from the City goalkeeper.
I mean, I'm an England fan and I'm a massive fan of Joe Hart, but he simply wouldn't have swept that up in that way. That is why Pep Guardiola got rid of him as the Manchester City keeper, because that's what he wants from his keeper. And Joe Hart would have been in a one-on-one with one of the most deadly strikers in the Premier League in that situation. I don't think there's any doubt.
Well, I think, you need that reading of the situation in the game, don't you? And the bravery to almost come. I think goalkeepers maybe feel a little bit uneasy whenever they do come out of their 18-yard box.
He doesn't know. He could
Not
play.
At all. Yeah, I believe he could.
I believe he could. Yeah.
He must love it in five-a-sides. He probably sort of shows the skills that the outfield players do.
No doubt at all. Do you like that in a goalkeeper as someone who played in an era where that wasn't really what a keeper did? Have you sort of come to terms with that, even though it can cause problems at times? Are you happy with it?
I'd love to see it, yeah. It's that confidence, that belief that every single player on the pitch can handle football at their feet. It's the way goalkeeping has gone, rather than just being a stopper. They've got to be good with their feet now, haven't they? Especially the way a City and...
Hi, I'm Alex Beckham.
Team.
And the goalkeeper got enough on it, and it found its way to Monreal, who cleared. Then Kolasinac tries to turn it infield. It's hit, and a Man City player, no handball. Bernardo Silva gives it to De Bruyne, who, I have to say, he is probably the quietest of the attacking sort of five, isn't he? As when Guendouzi goes over, flicks his arms into the sky, as if he's in, maybe one of his hands got caught, perhaps by De Bruyne, but it's a free kick to Arsenal anyway. As we see once again with Silva getting away there, the cross coming in, and I mean, you need a bit of fortune sometimes, and Leno's punch went to Monreal instead of, I think it was Bernardo Silva on this near side.
I guess it's a scenario when the goalkeeper does come, it's putting the ball into an area that doesn't just drop to a striker, getting some distance on your punch or your palm away, and then you hope that your teammates and your defensive players around you sort of do their piece and clear any other danger following that phase of play.
Arsenal have it at the back with Shkodran Mustafi making his 100th English football appearance today. This is number 99 for Arsenal. Do you know who the one was for? Yeah, the one.
No.
Very early in his career, it was for Everton. He had a brief spell there under David Moyes, who didn't really fancy him starting off to Germany, and of course he's ended up playing in a German World Cup winning squad. Here's Guendouzi in towards Kolasinac in the area. Ooh, it stung the hands of the keeper, came back out. Here's Monreal left hand side. Monreal tries the cross, low cross towards Lacazette, comes back for Torreira, got hold of that, didn't he? Seriously, good chance for City to break, though it was blocked away. And here's Aguero into De Bruyne. De Bruyne with City players tearing forward, but Arsenal getting enough back. He's done really well just to hold on to possession and work it right to Bernardo Silva. He was fouled, De Bruyne, but the referee's waving play on. I wonder whether they'd rather have the free kick, to be honest, the way that Bernardo Silva's continuing. But here is Gundogan to the left-hand side, and Sterling. Now Laporte, Silva, Sterling, only Aguero and Bernardo Silva in the box, and the short pass towards David Silva was easily cut out by Torreira. But Arsenal there had a spell with an opportunity themselves, as Iwobi manages to slalom past two or three, and then De Bruyne comes through the back of Lacazette there. I think he'd be lucky to avoid a yellow for that, but a free kick will be Arsenal's. Nothing more in terms of disciplining Kevin De Bruyne.
De Bruyne might be arguing the fact that he made a tackle from behind. He got a touch on the ball.
A good tackle, isn't it?
Lacazette wasn't aware
of him, really, didn't
he? Yeah, he got a touch on the ball, and Lacazette wasn't aware that he was there, and obviously tried going through the action of striking the ball, and then he kicked De Bruyne. So Martin Atkinson feeling that it was a free kick to Arsenal, but just seeing a replay now of the pressure that Arsenal had. Torreira's shot that got blocked by City, but very much, staying in this game. You can see the belief. It takes a lot of organisation, fitness, discipline, communication when you do defend deep in numbers. So that it just needs one player to switch off, and then all of a sudden the opposition can be in. So they've done it extremely well, given the poor start that they did have.
5 minutes plus stoppage time left for play. Manchester City, there was a yellow card there for Torreira as well. I have to confess, I'm not totally sure what that was for, as Arsenal have it with Kolasinac. Kolasinac to Lacazette. Now here's Torreira. Torreira's got Lichtsteiner to his right, and one more for Iwobi. 2 blue shirts around him. Iwobi moving into the centre of the field. Gives it back to the Uruguayan Torreira. Now Guendouzi in the centre circle. Away from De Bruyne to Shkodran Mustafi. And it's all the way back to the goalkeeper Leno. And again from Guendouzi, clipped to the left-hand side from Monreal. Monreal down the left for Kolasinac, who's practically playing as the left-sided attacking midfielder, isn't he, really? Now Lacazette picks it up and spreads it out to the right-hand side beyond Lichtsteiner. Bounces once, throw into Manchester City. 1-1. Sergio Aguero's goal after 47 seconds. And Koscielny's equaliser in the 11th minute of the game. Here's De Bruyne, tackled by Lacazette. Torreira can come forward. Aubameyang's making the run off to the right hand side, shoots towards goal, blocked by the sliding Nicolas Otamendi, and Arsenal have a corner.
And that's where Arsenal would like to get Aubameyang again, just breaking into the City defence, but we want to get him one-on-one with players, but City had enough players back and doing their job defensively, but he's won his team a corner.
Can't quite work out Fernandinho's role today. There are times where he's in the back three, isn't there? And then there are other times where he sits in that defensive mode. I wonder whether it's just if Walker goes, he's been told, right, you stay. Corner will be taken, I think, by Kolasinac over on the far side. Torreira's saying he wants it short and he's not going to take it himself. Bit of a breather almost this for Arsenal in many ways. Koscielny's forward again. Mustafi's in the 18-yard box too. Here's the delivery towards Koscielny. Header away by Otamendi on the edge of the 6-yard box. It'll be chased by Aguero. Lichtsteiner, I suppose that's safety first really, puts it into Rosed out on the right-hand side down towards the corner flag, which Manchester City are defending away to the left.
I think talking about Fernandinho there, Toby, I think naturally as that defensive midfielder he easily just drops into those positions within the back three or back four, whatever it might be at times, and as we're just seeing now, he's capable to get on the ball and drive out with it, whether it's a pass or run forward to start off those Man City attacks.
Yeah, he has done so well there, and De Bruyne has found Kyle Walker to Fernandinho. That's a good spot. He's capable of a pass as well out to the left-hand side, and Sterling brings it back to Gundogan, back into the box. Lovely football by City. Sergio Aguero couldn't miss. Oh, it's absolutely stupendous football by Manchester City from one end of the field to the other in a matter of 10 or 15 passes, and Sergio Aguero with the simplest of tap-ins to give City the lead just a couple of minutes before the break. Manchester City 2, Arsenal 1.
Well, we're just talking about Fernandinho. He started the whole attack off, I think, right on the edge, if not in his own box at the other end of the field. He's then sprayed a pass out to Raheem Sterling, who's on the right-hand side. He's taken not even a touch. I think he's played it in first time, and it's a wonderful little ball, dinked ball from Gundogan. Then it's Sterling left-footed pass across the middle of the 6-yard box, and Aguero is at the far post. He had a little glance over his shoulder just to make sure that the official's flag didn't go up, but he was onside. Wonderful goal, wonderful football from City. They lead 2-1.
I could have scored that.
And me. I think you're more likely to score than what I was.
Get? One. That's right. Who was it against?
Leicester.
Leicester, there you go. You'll never forget that. As Manchester City come forward again, De Bruyne tries to bend it towards Aguero, doesn't really get enough bend on it, and Bent Leno goes to the right edge of his area, chases it out. And for all of Arsenal's hard work, and really since sort of the first 10 minutes in terms of proper opportunities, I've written down 3 for Arsenal and none for City. So it tells you that they've been under the cosh to an extent, despite having the bulk of the possession. They've probably given away more in terms of chances, so that totally changes Pep Guardiola's team talk, I'd have thought, now, as we move into the final 10 seconds of normal time at the end of the first 45 minutes. At TalkSport Live on Twitter, if you want to get in touch with us.
Arsenal will be really kicking themselves.
Yeah.
You know, they're so close to getting into half-time in the dressing room and regrouping, regathering, coming up with a strategy to come out for the second half, but all of a sudden that whole game plan now, that conversation, as you say, at half-time, completely changes now.
Otamendi has it on the defensive edge of the centre circle, moved left to Laporte, now to Sterling on the left-hand side. Gundogan into Aguero, already on a hat-trick, remember. Tackled away from him, but found Gundogan only. Across to Bernardo Silva, now here's De Bruyne! Oh, he smashed it across the face of goal. Raheem Sterling puts his thumb and forefinger probably about an inch apart and says, that's how close I was to making it 3-1.
Again, it was wonderful football, wasn't it? There's almost a telepathy, isn't there, between the City players? Yes, there's that style of play that they're so wonderful at doing at times, but all the players just know the right time of the run, the right pace of the pass, and players are making runs almost like 2 or 3 moves ahead before the ball even arrives.
Yeah, they certainly know their roles as Arsenal win it in midfield. Aubameyang, Kolasinac, I should say, beaten to that one by Otamendi. He's turned it left for Laporte. Can City get away? They can, with David Silva just turned back behind Lichtsteiner into Aguero. First time back to Laporte. Play it so beautifully, and then Gundogan first time plays it out of play for an Arsenal throw. That's known as the curse of the commentator. Lichtsteiner's just being given a little warning there by Martin Atkinson. Not totally sure what that was about. But the Swiss is now going to go and take this throw. City fans protesting that he's too far forward. A few empty blue seats behind him there. Hopefully that's just people that have gone for a drink at half-time early. Lichtsteiner's still taking his time over this throw, and he's given it away. And as soon as he does give it away, the half-time whistle goes. Well, literally from the first moment right to the last, you couldn't take your eyes off it. It's been a fabulous advert for the Premier League. Great quality. There has been errors as well. Arsenal, frankly, pathetic for Manchester City's opening goal 47 seconds in when Sergio Aguero scored. But they hit back well. Koscielny scoring from a corner. But just before half-time, a trademark Manchester City flowing move created another opening for Kun Aguero. 2 for him, 2 for City, just the 1 for Arsenal. It's half-time, it's Manchester City 2, Arsenal 1. You're listening to Premier League Live.
help me find the right words to say.
My heart rages around like an ocean in my head, because there are so many things that I left unsaid. I can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know that it's not reality. If you are echoing around inside these parallel dimensions all alone, know I'll find you in my dreams. My heart rages around like an ocean in my head. I can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know that it's not reality. If you are echoing around inside these parallel dimensions all alone, know I'll find you in my dreams. I can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know that it's not reality. I'm stuck.
trying to find a way to make it easier to say that there's just one thing on my mind, and I think it's time for you to realize I want you all to myself. Don't wanna share you with nobody else. So give me something to believe. Will you promise me? Will you promise me? Burned me once or twice, I expect them. I just wanna know what your truth is. Will you be the one to break me out of this? I want you all to myself. Don't wanna share you with nobody else. So give me something to believe. Will you promise me? Will you promise me? So give me something to believe. Will you promise me? Will you promise me? Will you promise me?
You turn toward me and look so weak. I've never seen you with such tired eyes. And everything we said we'd be, we just traded for a suit coat and a tie. And underneath the rows of trees, I will see you where the ocean meets the sky. Under your toes, the fire glows. You are ready for a different kind of life. You're silent, bold, the wind is cold. You must return to the wild. You're silent, bold, the wind is cold. You must return to the wild. Follow me down, there's no one around. Lay back and take your socks and shoes right off. That natural light is so damn polite, can make you feel just like you were young. again. Standing underneath the rows of trees, I can see where the ocean meets the sky. Under our clothes, a fire grows. We are ready for this life of running wild. We're running wild. Underneath the rows of trees, I will see where the ocean meets the sky. Under your toes, the fire grows. You are ready for a different kind of life. Silent falling, the wind is calling. You must return to the wild. Silent falling, the wind is calling. You must return to the wild.
Like a diamond from gold. Maybe you are something I cannot define. Maybe you are the fallen kind. I live there with violence, the silent side of me. We see where fire starts to breathe. When I was lay in silence, the voices.
Jesus, it's it's wonderful pool of talent to be able to call upon in a situation of the game, isn't it? Gives you loads of options.
The rest of them: Danilo, John Stones, Fabien Delph, and I'm reliably informed it's Arijanet Muritz is how you pronounce the Manchester City substitute goalkeeper.
You did it and not me.
Try? We are back out for the second half. Pep Guardiola. He's got a sort of jumper coat that he's wearing. It's not very smart, is it? It's a sort of, looks like it's something that's been in the back of his cupboard for the last 15 years. And big enough to house an elephant, to be honest with you, in there. But I'm sure he's got his layers on. It is very cold across the UK today. And we're back underway with Manchester City and immediately into their rhythm, passing it amongst themselves across the back. And here is Bernard Laporte coming into the Arsenal half to Raheem Sterling. Now into David Silva, who's managing to hold off Torreira. Silva tries to cross, deflected away by Koscielny, back in by Silva towards Raheem Sterling. Might block to De Bruyne when Doozy just takes it off of his toes just about, and Arsenal survive. They've got 7 seconds to last to make it longer than they did in the first 45 minutes. They're there now, and they've got a throw as well, so I think they're going to probably manage to see a minute out this time. So let's quickly run you through the sides. City: Ederson, Walker, Otamendi and Laporte, Gundogan, Fernandinho, Silva, De Bruyne, Silva, Sterling, Aguero. Arsenal with this throw just inside the City half. Leno in goal, Mustafi, Koscielny and Monreal, Lichtsteiner, Torreira, Guendouzi and Kolasinac, Iwobi, Aubameyang and Lacazette. Aubameyang just couldn't bring it under control. It's been quiet really, Aubameyang. Certainly Lacazette I think has offered more, even just in terms of winning the ball back on a number of occasions, but we all know that Aubameyang is one of those players that can do nothing for a game and then he'll come away with 2 goals, so don't count him out yet. At TalkSport Live if you want to tell us what you think is going to happen in the second 45. Get onto Twitter I always like asking people if they can send us pictures of where they're listening from, because you're all around the world, anywhere outside the UK and Ireland, and I know that a lot of you have some wonderful views. So at TalkSport Live with your pictures, and then as you send them, tell us your predictions and your thoughts on this game as well. Here's Fernandinho for Manchester City inside the Arsenal half. Up it goes towards Aguero. He's left it for Sterling, just left-hand side of the box. Sterling shifts onto his right foot, passes it back to Bernardo Silva, whose left foot is not David Silva-esque, certainly, because he's put it out into Rose Ed behind the goal.
Just saw a bit of play earlier in the second half from City. You know, that question, that million-dollar question: do you press the City side or do you sit back and try and counter-attack? And early on in the second half, we saw Arsenal really trying to press high up the pitch. They were shutting down the City players, but they had the quality and the confidence and the composure to play out from the last third.
Aguero's holding off Koscielny here, who's dived in a desperate lunge and brought down the Argentine in a really dangerous position for Manchester City to have a free kick. It was a great leap by Walker. Aguero looked for a second like he was going to be able to spin away from the Frenchman, the Arsenal captain, but the ball really just sort of held up on the bounce, didn't it? And it allowed Koscielny at least to get back at him, but he couldn't do so without fouling him. So standing over this, we've got Kevin De Bruyne, who looks favourite, and David Silva, for whom the left foot would appear more of an obvious option. Bernd Leno is standing right in front of his left-hand post, organising the wall at the moment.
Could be either or, couldn't it?
Certainly could. This feels like a potential pivotal moment for this game. 3.5 minutes into the second half. Martin Atkinson is happy with where the wall is positioned. De Bruyne or Silva? Who fancies it? It's Silva with the run-up, hits the wall, might land at Guendouzi's feet. Laporte's ended up in possession. Back it comes to Gundogan. Gundogan with another one of those beautiful weighted balls into the box, and David Silva this time. Very rare for the sultry Spaniard. Can't quite get his bearings right and rolls it off of his left foot straight at the goalkeeper.
Again, what a magical pass from Gundogan. You know, I think what made it difficult for Silva was the angle of the run that he made, wasn't it, to wrap his foot enough around it to keep it in play and back across goal. Obviously wasn't able to do that, but you know, we're just seeing an example here of how City can press the opposition as well, high up the pitch, forcing them into going long, and then probably going to pick up the pieces, but no, Arsenal come away with it.
Couldn't want to be in the starting 11 of any other team in the Prem, wouldn't he? Maybe,
yes.
Maybe not Liverpool, possibly, but anyway, here comes Kolasinac left-hand side. Cross is blocked by Fernandinho. Kolasinac holds him back. Referee just allows play on because it's with De Bruyne. Kolasinac gets back at him. De Bruyne tries to turn past him twice, and the Bosnian gets a toe in. It's a throw to Manchester City.
It's fascinating, those little one-on-one battles, isn't it? Sometimes you see sort of like such good players, and sometimes it comes down if the ability is both the same. Often it's maybe that little bit of heart and will and desire, the player that's more willing to go that little extra further to try and win a little battle against the opponent or the game of football ultimately.
Is there anyone in this Arsenal team with the ability, though, of the direct rival in the Man City team? I'm not even sure Aubameyang and Lacazette, they're not as good as Aguero, are they? So,
I
just think that every single one is a level ever so slightly below what City have got, isn't it?
Well, if you put it across the whole teams, then yes, certainly City are going to come out on top in that sense.
Here's Bernardo Silva looking to find a gap to get a cross in, instead turns it back to Kyle Walker, to Otamendi. It's another great ball down the right hand side to Bernardo Silva, up against Monreal, approaches the right edge of the area, cuts it back to De Bruyne, straight at the keeper who got hands to it. It bounced away to David Silva, and then Leno actually quite brilliantly stretched out his left arm and gathered it in from David Silva's feet. That's sincere risk of giving away a penalty there, but he's got it right, having let the ball slip initially and prevented what might have been a certain Manchester City third.
Yeah, he certainly stretched his big frame, didn't he, after that initial shot they parried from De Bruyne. He had to be lightning quick to react to stop Silva getting in to pick up the
City
pieces.
gone forward again with Aguero, tackled by Mustafi, did just enough. I thought he was at risk of giving a penalty away again there, but Arsenal clear it to Aubameyang, who's turned away well from Gundogan and moved down to the right hand side. He's got Iwobi gone beyond him. Gives it to the Nigerian. To Aubameyang again. Now Kolasinac back to Aubameyang in towards Iwobi. Doesn't get it right. Gundogan's there. City played out to Aguero. Gundogan continues his run. Back to Aguero on the left hand side. Nobody really up with him. He might have to do this all alone up against Mustafi. Inside onto his right foot, finds Gundogan, finds De Bruyne, tried to touch it back to Sterling, it was behind him, so Walker gives it to Bernardo Silva. De Bruyne! Back to Walker, he's surely offside, he is. They passed it into the back of the net anyway, just to prove they can, but Arsenal survive, and it's a bit of a City onslaught in the first 7 or so minutes of this second period.
Again, what we've seen many occasions before, intricate passing and movement from City, but it's incredible from De Bruyne. I mean, it's a definite offside for sure. Officials getting that right, but De Bruyne's body shape and angle that he almost took the shot on, it's almost like shooting completely at a right angle across his body. But
it reminds me of the Gerard Olympiakos goal. I know that went along the ground, De Bruyne's one just there, but that's that sort of technique where you bend it into the other corner.
Yeah. No, it's a hard thing to do, especially just physically to wrap your foot around the ball and across your body in that fashion. But it's certainly a good strike.
You call it difficult, I call it impossible. That's the difference in talent between
I'll take
you and
impossible
me.
as well. Yeah.
I couldn't even complete a 5-yard pass. That's why I ended up talking about football instead of playing it. Here's Mustafi at the back for Arsenal. Back to his goalkeeper Leno at TalkSport Live. Apologies if we don't manage to get to all of yours. We've got a lovely picture from South Africa, which I'll tell you about in a moment, as the long ball goes forward by Arsenal straight to Ederson. Dean Henderson says it's going to be 4-2 to Manchester City from South Africa, where we've got a thunderstorm on its way, and you should see the gathering clouds in Howick, South Africa. It's not a part of the country I've heard of, I have to confess.
It looks pretty ominous, doesn't it?
What about this? A Tottenham fan from Clearwater Beach in Florida, with the sun, it must be, oh no, it's a picture from last night, setting over a beautiful pier out into the water. Shall we just
perfect,
look at the pictures instead of the football? That is
lovely photograph.
Incredible picture. Thanks very much from Chris. Hoping for a draw today. Spurs fan wanting a draw is the title, I suppose, isn't it? Here's Aguero coming forward for City, blocked by Koscielny, runs for Iwobi to the right hand side, and Lichtsteiner slides it up the right to Torreira. The Uruguayan was born in a place in Uruguay called Fray Bentos, which in the UK is a pie. That was one of my discoveries in preparing for this game. You're a fan of a pie?
I certainly am. Yeah, most definitely.
Can't not be a fan of that Uruguayan footballer, can you? He's getting towards the type of player we've always said Arsenal needed. As Lichtsteiner tries to play it up the right hand side, but Sterling blocks it away for a throw. We've got a picture of Shadrach, who's listening in from Ghana, who says 4-1 to Manchester City, and we're looking up quite a vast looking tree as Guendouzi makes a bit of a hash of that, loops it into the sky at Koscielny, and his header out to Monreal. Here's Otamendi to Fernandinho. Now Gundogan back to Otamendi again. Keep those coming in, but I promise not to just tell you about all of them, because I'd be here describing photos rather than the football. Around the corner it goes by Manchester City. De Bruyne's left it for Sterling, approaching the left edge of the box. Into De Bruyne! Keeper manages to save it with his knees, and it bounces into his own arms. Another chance that for City, and Arsenal are really struggling in this first 45 minutes, even to get it, frankly, out of their own area, let alone out of their own half. But over into the City half goes Guendouzi down the left, continues his run. What options does he have? Oh, that's a brilliant tackle by Bernardo Silva, just forcing him off the ball, tried to slip it right, it hits Torreira, it bounces back to the Portuguese, in towards Sergio Aguero. Heavy pass, he's annoyed with himself, but Aguero will pick it up down by the corner flag, right hand side for City. Back it goes to Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne just waits and waits again, and then into David Silva, right of the 18-yard box. Now Aguero back to Kyle Walker. Guendouzi just didn't have the options there to pass it to, and this is why City are in possession again with Kyle Walker. to the right-hand side, and David Silva. Now Fernandinho's just drifted forward to Aguero, out to the right for Bernardo Silva, back to Walker, and now Otamendi in the centre circle. Steps and thinks about going to Laporte left, instead leaves it for David Silva. Gundogan up to Sterling on the left, back to the German, to Silva and Otamendi, and now here's Walker again. So patient in their build-up, Manchester City. 12.5 minutes into the second half, finally they make their move, and it's an easy cut-out for Monreal from Fernandinho's pass. Here come Arsenal with Torreira now running hard over the halfway line. Lays it off to Kolasinac. Needs some help. Just about managed to get it down the line, beating the slide of Bernardo Silva to Monreal. And here's Koscielny, and Arsenal finally managed to string 6 or 7 passes together. They'll work it up to Lichtsteiner. He's never going to beat Sterling for pace, is he? Sterling, one of the quickest players in the Premier League, up against a player who's been a really good right back, top right back really in European football over the course of his career. The Swiss, mainly for Juventus in the last sort of 5 or 6 years, but at 35 up against Raheem Sterling. Well, he's I think he's doing fairly well, isn't he, considering?
Yeah. If not saying it is for one moment, but if your legs are starting to go at that stage of your career, like you say, it's not the kind of player you want to come up against with that pace, that trickery.
Here's Guendouzi into the centre circle for Monreal. Monreal slipping it to the left-hand side for Kolasinac. Crossing opportunity here. He didn't elect to do it first time. Now low towards the edge of the 6-yard box, but Ederson dives on top of it. Interesting suggestion from Aloy, who's listening in Lagos. I think Pep has changed English football and English players in his team into world beaters, and that, of course, was reflected in the World Cup. What I think is quite interesting today, I'm not totally sure, so don't quote me on this, but Kyle Walker certainly hadn't played at centre-half for City until he played it for England. So, yes, I think, you know, what we've seen of Walker is that he can play there. But actually, I think Pep has probably helped England in that way as well. But Pep's actually taken what Gareth Southgate did with Walker today and run with it, hasn't he?
For sure, yeah. And, we've seen how he's more than capable of playing that position. Whether he likes playing that position himself personally, maybe not quite so much the fan, because I'm sure he plays and enjoys playing wing back, which enables him to get forward an awful lot more, and it's more of a defensive role in a 3. But yeah, he's certainly got the qualities, the pace, the strength to play that position, or both positions, without any problem.
Fernandinho manages to step away from a Lacazette challenge, who then comes back at him and barges down the Brazilian. Free kick to Manchester City. Certainly feels as if the next goal's massive, and realistically at this stage it's lead. Aguero tries to spin the ball to the near side, just has enough weight on it to reach Sterling, who slaloms into the box. Across it goes! Sergio Aguero! It's over the line, surely, isn't it? It found its way in anyway. Either way, Manchester City do have their third goal, and I think it's going to go down as a hat-trick for Sergio Aguero. We're just waiting for confirmation. We'll need a replay to be absolutely certain. Here it comes. Sterling did really well. Aguero slid in, didn't get the proper contact. Tell you what, it was off his hand. Yeah, it's in the goal, isn't it? It is a Sergio Aguero hat-trick. I tell you what,
Arsenal players
it's a
are almost
handball, I think.
appealing for a handball. Yeah, it does come off Leno and strike Aguero's left arm, I believe, as he's sliding in. I mean, he slides in, it's a minimal sort of contact, but it does take it literally marginally across the line. Leno, despairing dive back to try and claw it back from stopping it going across the line. It's almost like going in slow motion. Players diving, trying to stop the ball over, but Aguero's bundled the ball over. His hat-trick and City's third goal. You've got to say it's a tough and long way back now, if at all possible, for Arsenal.
It certainly is. I don't think a hat-trick will ever have been so underwhelmingly commentated on as that one, but it was truly because we weren't sure. The angle we've got here, we just couldn't tell if it had gone over the line. It ended up being smacked in anyway by somebody else. But look, Sergio Aguero, yet another hat-trick. He's absolutely astonishing. It's his 14th hat-trick for Manchester City and his 10th in the Premier League. I mean, the man is incredible. 219 goals and 157 in the Premier League now for him. There's not been many better imports to Premier League football than Sergio Aguero, who's on it at the moment with Kevin De Bruyne to his right, and he uses Silva instead to his left in the centre. Now it's De Bruyne. Aguero's made his way into the box. How many could he get? De Bruyne's cross is punched clear on his goal line by Leno.
I mean, Aguero's such a wonderful footballer, strong, that low centre of gravity. He can score all kinds of goals, as we've seen on numerous occasions. But what he does do, and what he has done today, Toby, is whenever City have played that ball wide, when they get it out to De Bruyne, Silva, Sterling, whoever, Mane, if he's playing, not Mane, Sane, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I knew it was an Arne in there somewhere.
Yeah, we got that.
But he just gets in the middle of the goal.
Yeah.
You know, the ball goes wide, and you know there's going to be that square ball across, or a little cutback from whoever's on the wings.
What do you reckon the combined yardages of this goal, this hat-trick? 8 yards? 9?
It's a good point. I mean, it's got to be at tops, I would say, tops that.
Yeah.
But he's in the right place. He knows the ball is going to be delivered into that area, so he gets himself in those positions, and he's on the end of these.
I don't want to spoil the fun, but it shouldn't have counted. So it was a handball.
There was contact with his left arm. Yeah,
well, it was the only contact.
Yeah,
I mean, it shouldn't have counted, and Arsenal will rightfully feel aggrieved. If this finishes 3-2, they're going to be annoyed, aren't they? I think.
And we saw some of the Arsenal players going to Martin Atkinson and Pete saying that the ball did strike Aguero's arm.
Yeah, it should have been a free kick. Back with Leno, who'd clip out. Well, I mean, he tried the pass that Gundogan tried for the Sterling, or for the Aguero second, and it just went straight out for a throw. So that's not all goalkeepers can do it. And then Gundogan bursts through. He's brought down, and he's adjudged to have dived.
Going to book him, I think.
Well, there was contact. He was balked there, wasn't he? But I don't think the player could have got out of the way. Let's see. Running past Mustafi, who I think he knew what he was doing, to be fair, Mustafi, but 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I'm not sure it was a dive.
Do you know, exactly that, Toby. I don't feel. Yes, there was contact, and he did go to ground, but that wasn't a dive like we see on other occasions.
No, he wasn't trying to buy a pen, was he? There?
No.
We're going to see Denis Suarez. We're also going to see Aaron Ramsey. So the lookalikes are coming on. The twins. They could be twins, couldn't they? It's extraordinary just seeing them standing there next to each other. Good job they got numbers on the backs of their shirts, because I wouldn't be able to tell the difference otherwise. Iwobi shows some nimble feet to move away from Gundogan, but they're not really going anywhere, Arsenal. 3-1 down. Sergio Aguero's hat-trick, his 10th in the Premier League. And here is Guendouzi to Aubameyang around the corner for Iwobi, who's going to move into the area. Iwobi's dinked crosses away by Otamendi. De Bruyne loops it over Torreira and moves away with it and lays it off for Sterling. Sterling's got De Bruyne with him. Oh, he's tried the pass up to Aguero, but it was weak, and Guendouzi was in there, no problem. Comes away with it, Guendouzi. Fouled by David Silva. He's going to be a good player, Guendouzi, I think, but he's been a little bit passed by at times in this game. The first change is for the man who we're blamed for the first goal, Alex Iwobi, who will come off. And which one's that? That's Aaron Ramsey.
They are very, very similar. You're right, don't they? They do look very similar.
And on comes his brother Denis Suarez for Sead Kolasinac. So if there's an Arsenal goal at some point scored by one or the other of those, apologies if I get it wrong. It's unbelievable lookalike. Left hand side, it's with Monreal. How does that change things for Arsenal, do we think? Well, they haven't lost anything with Iwobi going off, have they? It's been awful.
think it just brings that freshness of some
Here is Denis Suarez's first touch in English football, met by Laporte, tackled and loses possession. And then now David Silva, his compatriot, lovely ball into Sterling. Raheem Sterling got an option to his right, just held up by Guendouzi there, and then Guendouzi's fouled him, I think, has he? They're given a play on here, and here's De Bruyne in towards Kyle Walker. It's going to break to the right hand side for Bernardo Silva, whose left foot shot bends straight into Bernd Leno.
Got to credit both sides here. It's a wonderful game of football, isn't it? Arsenal certainly doing their utmost and their best, but City are just
might have a chance here if Lacazette can find Aubameyang. Just wonder whether he played at the wrong side of the defender there, and it was an easy clearance for Arsenal. Torreira's won it back for City, I should say, but Torreira's won it back for Arsenal. Up it goes to Aaron Ramsey. Apologies, I keep interrupting you, but it's one of those games, isn't it? Ramsey has it left hand side. Here's Monreal and Guendouzi.
They're breaking so quick, Toby, aren't they? They're playing forward. There's only periods a little bit like now where we're seeing 4, 5, 6 passes, but predominantly the ball's going forward pretty quick from both teams.
Yeah. Just at this stage, though, Arsenal having a bit of a breather in possession. Koscielny to his right foot, Monreal, and the run by Suarez. Well, he didn't read it at all. Did Mustafi, I should say. And City have it back with Silva, who's at the midpoint of the Arsenal half, just jogging from left into the centre. It's back to Kyle Walker. There's a moment there where I think the former Tottenham man had stars in his eyes as he ran forward, didn't he? A goal against Arsenal would be a lovely thing for him.
There's a powerful run.
They're just passing it amongst each other. 2 or 3 yard passes, Kyle Walker and Otamendi. Walker now going long down the right hand side for Bernardo Silva. Infield it goes to De Bruyne's cross comes in. Will Sterling meet it at the back post? He will, but it's away from goal that he's having to go. Laporte, Gundogan, square to Fernandinho. Won this game now, isn't it, for City, you think? Can't see Arsenal getting two.
This is where it's so hard for any team that finds themselves a couple of goals down, if not more, against the City side. They're so good at keeping the ball like they are now. They can quite easily make 10, 20, 30 passes or more, and you just can't get near to the football.
For Liverpool fans listening, Sergio Aguero now has more hat-tricks than Robbie Fowler. He only had 9 in the Premier League. Aguero 10. How many do you think Shearer had without looking?
Oh, I wish I was looking quick there. It would be quite a few. It would be quite a few. 8.
Do you think he's ahead of Shearer on that? You think Aguero?
No, not yet. Yeah, he's got to be.
Do you think he's ahead of Shearer?
Yeah, I do.
He's one behind him. Alan Shearer had 11 hat-tricks in his, 249 goals did Shearer score in the Premier League. Not sure Aguero will reach that. He might have done if he'd had his whole career here. Absolutely incredible footballer is Sergio Aguero. I'm not bitter or anything, but I only had a year working for Man City, and I thought I was going to get a second one. And they came to me and they said, we can't keep you on for various reasons. And it was the summer that they signed Aguero, who was already one of my favourite players in Europe.
Oh, well, they lost a star but found a star as well.
I don't think I ever had that impact on City, I won't lie. Guendouzi trying to get away from Aguero. Turns it back to Mustafi, who uses the goalkeeper. And here is Mustafi again. Missed out on seeing week in, week out one of the stars of world football in Aguero. Then Tevez at the time, mind you, he was fun, and Balotelli as well. Remember him? He was bonkers. Lovely man, absolutely lovely man, Mario Balotelli. City have it at the back with Otamendi. Arsenal not doing that high press that you mentioned briefly at the start of this game. I just wonder whether they've been chasing shadows for the second half, haven't they? I mean, I suggested in the build-up to this game, how close really are they to City? And I think they're being taught a lesson at the moment as David Silva has it on the left edge of the area. Into Kevin De Bruyne, tried that passing finish into the area. It deflects to Aguero out on the right-hand side of the 18-yard box. Bernardo Silva. Aguero could have a few more today yet, couldn't he, I think?
Still enough time, isn't it?
It really is. De Bruyne to Bernardo Silva, into Fernandinho. Now Aguero, right edge of the area. Fernandinho bundles his way to the right. Cross comes in. And that's going to run away for an Arsenal throw down by the corner flag.
I think sometimes it's, and this is no disrespect to Arsenal or anyone else that City come up against, but in these situations and scenarios, I feel it's probably a degree of like how much City want to press on at this point in the game, because you'd say that they got the ability to sort of see the game out at this stage quite comfortably in a way, but how much do they want to press for that 4th, 5th, 6th goal maybe?
I know that Manchester City, will want the Premier League, of course, this season, and multiple trophies. But I just wonder whether anyone could stop them in the Champions League, and whether, suppose they were to win the Champions League and come second to Liverpool, or maybe even third, who knows? Tottenham are in it at the moment. Is that a successful season for City, winning the Champions League and not the league, or do they need to be dominating English football as well?
Well, they have done. They've won it last year, haven't they? I mean,
they've never defended it, have they? They're yet to defend it.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, that would be the next big question, I guess. Sort of replicating it and putting back-to-back titles there. But yeah, certainly Champions League is something that's very much on their list as well.
It's not a failure of a season if you win the Champions League, is it?
Certainly not.
Just sort of fascinating. I wonder whether people want to get in touch with us, any City fans listening in, and tell us whether would you still see it as a success if you didn't win the league, even if you could bring home the Champions League? Is it a successful season for you? Sergio Aguero is down on his haunches. I don't know if he's taken a bit of a knock. It's an unfortunate position because he's got some mud on the back of his shorts, hasn't he? And he's crouched, squatting down over the pitch.
Seems okay. He's back to his feet.
Yeah, he's okay. But that's a photo that I think will end up as a meme on Twitter at some point later today, possibly with some additions from people with Photoshop. Someone with immaculate shorts, amazingly, is the centre-half Laporte, who's played in every Premier League game so far this season for Manchester City. He's becoming a really important cog in the wheel, player that joined a year ago as David Silva moves down the left-hand side, turns inside one, tries to get it back to Aguero. Denis Suarez is back helping out for Arsenal. He's lost out to Aguero, who just got his body between man and ball and shepherds it out of play, and Denis Suarez must be just looking on going, what on earth is happening today?
I think he's only touched the ball once or twice, hasn't he?
It's a bit like playing Barcelona at their best, isn't it, really? I mean, that Guardiola side, impossible to do, but you'd love to see that Guardiola side against this Guardiola side.
It'd be a fascinating game, wouldn't it?
I wonder whether this one might win, I don't know, it's Messi at his best, isn't he? Even he's probably the only one that is better than Aguero at his best, really. He's pulled back there, wants a free kick, he's going to get it. Is that Ramsey or that is Ramsey?
He's got a little bit more facial hair.
He has a little
Suarez.
Bit, when they're facing you, though, it's not easy. Sergio Aguero has won the free kick. That's what's amazing about him, isn't it? The way that I think that was not just a story made up in the media that Aguero wasn't necessarily Pep's type of player. He's made himself Pep's player, hasn't he? He runs further than he ever used to run. His goal scoring's not been affected, but he's an effective player within the whole system, a real important cog in the wheel as De Bruyne delivers the ball in, smacks in, it's going to come to Aguero! Keeper's managed to save that one, and I thought for a second that was number 4.
Well, we talk about the positions that he takes up, the free kick in from De Bruyne, Arsenal getting the initial header away, it dropped to Aguero on the edge of the box, who sort of pulled out a little bit deeper this time, and he just tried shooting with the outside of his foot.
Took a little touch off of Koscielny on the way through as well, which I think made it a little bit harder for Leno.
For sure, yeah.
It was probably going straight down his throat, and the reason that we're not seeing any action at the moment is that Mustafi is down, receiving some treatment, and they're being very careful with him because I think it might be his neck that they're worrying about. Or is it a cheekbone? I'm not quite sure, but either way, the bearded German is down. It was quite tender, that, wasn't it? It was quite nice. I didn't mind somebody
like
standing over me,
temple massage,
massaging my head. It was lovely. Bit jealous.
Might have been the initial free kick coming in. There was a few players going to challenge for the ball. Might have taken a little knock. He looked like he sort of picked up he was wincing a little bit earlier in the game, so it certainly seems like he's taken a few bumps and bruises this afternoon.
Can't afford another defensive injury, but this doesn't look great. He's being helped up very carefully. I'd imagine there is a director for this game currently hunting back for exactly the moment where this happened, because we've not seen a replay, and well, you seem to think that you know what happened, but I'm certainly
Well, I'm only
clueless.
assuming. We certainly haven't seen it, but you know, I guess that's probably the only way that he maybe picked something up.
It's giving me an opportunity to check our Twitter feed and see if anyone's sent any more nice pictures. No, we're not. We're none the wiser for anyone else. We've just had that. Oh, here we go. A game day in Atlanta. Oh, we've got the NFL stadium. Super Bowl later. And I love the fact that the person that's tweeted that, at MooCow765, he says, game day in Atlanta, but I'm concentrating more on proper football. Love it. That's what we want to hear from you Americans. Kevin De Bruyne gives it to Kyle Walker, playing as an out-and-out right back at this moment in time. Tries to get the cross in. Away it goes by Mustafi, who's back on the field and seems to be okay. But I think we are going to see the end of his afternoon, because Mavropanos is readying himself to come on for Arsenal. The young Greek centre-back hasn't played at all this season. Got 3 appearances in the Premier League last year. Just 21. Joined just over a year ago. One of those early Sven Mislintat signings. He's now left the club, or is about to. The scout that came in brought the likes of Aubameyang, Mkhitaryan, and well, they had high hopes for who else he might uncover. Mavropanos will be one of the few. Here's another of those, Aubameyang, and Lacazette goes down with De Bruyne behind him, just inside the City half, holding his left ankle. Don't know if you've got a stud there. Here comes the change. You can't take any risks with potential concussions, can you? So Shkodran Mustafi is coming off, and it is number 27, Konstantinos Mavropanos. Easy for me to say.
Very good, I was impressed.
I mean, of all my jobs, finding out how to pronounce footballers' names is actually one of them. So I'll, if I get them wrong, I'm upset. I do my best. Here he is, Mavropanos.
He's coming into the game at a difficult stage and under difficult circumstances. He'll certainly be hoping that his side don't concede any more goals. And you know, with Arsenal wanted to break into that top 4. Just seeing them a little bit off the pace at the moment. 3 points behind Chelsea as it stands.
Yeah, and they're behind Manchester United after their win earlier, so even if United are not firing on all cylinders, didn't play that well at Leicester, they did win 1-0, and well, they are currently in pole position for 5th, as the ball must have gone out of play there for an Arsenal throw. It did, and we're going to see Gabriel Jesus. But honestly, you're going to yourself, right, this is let's make life easy for you. We're going to bring on Gabriel Jesus, the heir to the Aguero throne, and it is their king that's coming off. Sergio Aguero with his 10th Premier League hat-trick. He'll take away the match ball, even if he doesn't get 90 minutes under his belt. I mean, I've run out of how to describe him, of positive words to use for him, which is probably not that useful for somebody whose words are all I've got right now, but
it's a sensible
he's mercurial, isn't he?
Oh, incredible. Sensible change from Guardiola. You know, he's got the talent on the bench. Nice opportunity to recognise the hat-trick for Aguero with the crowd as well.
Remember, City could still win the lot. Every trophy is still available to them, as De Bruyne gives it to David Silva, running straight through the middle of the centre circle, turns inside Monreal and out to the right-hand side to Jesus. Jesus into De Bruyne. He's got Sterling in for a tap-in if he wants. Didn't quite manage to beat Lichtsteiner. Out it comes to Bernardo Silva. Back to Walker. What do you make of Kyle Walker's tweet the other day? Is there something you've ever taken any stock of?
I honestly didn't see it, and it's only when you mentioned it.
I'll tell you more in a second. Here's Bernardo Silva, gets it back to David Silva. That's a really good save actually by Bernd Leno as it came flying through the bodies. Sterling picks up, manages to get the cross in, and it'll be cleared away by Torreira up to Lacazette. Lacazette to Denis Suarez, who's playing on the right-hand side, steps inside of Bernard Laporte, and that's his first successful pass in the Premier League to Guendouzi. To Lacazette now. Guendouzi again. Suarez. Guendouzi. There's Torreira. Deep ball over Bernardo Silva to Suarez again, who's got his full name on his back of his shirt with the number 22. To the man that's half his number, Torreira. And then they've played it out to the left-hand side, and City are happy to let them do this, of course, because there's no threat right now as Aubameyang bounces off of De Bruyne and turns, and he's got an option down the left-hand side if he wants him. Monreal slips it into the Spaniard. The cross comes in straight into the arms of Ederson, and that was very comfortable for a man whose only job really today, to be honest, has been to pick the ball out the back of the net once, and one clearance where he rushed ahead of Aubameyang, and that's pretty much it.
Just seeing the reaction from Aubameyang with the delivery into the box.
Here goes Ramsey to Lacazette, trying to spin off of Otamendi. He's done really well to just emerge with the ball and shoot wide, and then I think, is he adjudged to have fouled his marker there? It seems.
I was just going to say, Toby, Aubameyang was disappointed with the delivery that come into the box, and Lacazette there, having to fight off the City players, probably unfairly being judged to have fouled the player, and you can see the frustration. Probably Martin Atkinson getting that decision wrong anyway, but both Aubameyang and Lacazette probably feel like they've spent the entire game almost having to fulfil defensive duties, which for any striker, let alone these guys, is not a good thing, and certainly they won't be happy doing that.
How far behind Manchester City or Arsenal? I mean, their fans crave title challenges. But you know what? I mean, I'm not even sure if they went out and spent £250 million. I don't think that's enough, is it? It's like you've then, even if you've got the players, you've then got to find the tactic and the consistency, and you've got to actually not just win the other games, but you've got to win these games, because City are so good. I know they've had a little bit of a problem recently at times, but generally speaking, they're going to be so consistent. And Liverpool, I'll tell you more in a sec, because they've got the ball on the break here, and it's 3 versus 2. Here's Jesus, a bit selfish, went straight for goal and rolled into the arms of the goalkeeper.
He had Raheem Sterling, who made a great little run to his right-hand side. I mean, he's done extremely well. They've won it back between him. Sterling initially, the ball dropping to Jesus, but Sterling's making a little overlap to the right-hand side. Should have slipped him in.
There was never a second in his mind where he was going to pass it, though, was there? I wonder whether Aguero perhaps would have done. And look, Aguero's got considerable years on Gabriel Jesus, to be fair to him. He's still just 21. The most used substitute this season. He's not taken over Aguero's mantle just yet. Not quite sure if he's the sensation that we thought he was right at the very beginning of his City career, when he came in and started breaking records. Here's Ramsey to Monreal to Denis Suarez. We're in deep in Man City's half here. Guendouzi up to Lacazette. His spun ball behind towards Aubameyang is smacked clear by City. Arsenal have it back. Guendouzi to Ramsey, carefully to the left for Monreal, tackled by Gundogan, but they've still got possession. Guendouzi's ball again up to Aubameyang is lacking accuracy. Jesus with the chest down, gets it straight back to Monreal. I mean, if Arsenal were to lose this game by 2, you'd feel like that's fair enough. They lost it by 1, I think that would flatter them, wouldn't it, judging by the second half performance? But they're attacking again here with Suarez, down by the left-hand corner flag. Fernandinho's with him. This is Bernardo Silva, and it is those in blue that come away with it. And De Bruyne has found Bernardo Silva, and they're going to break again. And here is Raheem Sterling running through the middle. Raheem Sterling attacking for Manchester City again. Sterling onto his right foot, tries the shot. Koscielny diving, makes the block, and it bounces kindly for those in red. The Gunners have it, looking for the run of Lacazette. I think Fernandinho will be there, and there's Walker.
And good block as well it was from Koscielny, and we're just seeing De Bruyne down, looking what might be cramp, pulling his toes up, toe of his boot. So looking in a bit of discomfort.
Nowhere close to his best at the moment, is he?
He's been out for some time, and then he's working his way back in and getting back to that level of where we've seen him before. But undoubtedly, what a wonderful footballer, and he's certainly put a shift in today. Even if he's not playing and he's not standing out in key moments of the game, or picking those passes, or playing those assists, or scoring like we've seen him score, he's still putting the work rate in, which is what something Pep likes from a team player.
And he's coming off for Riyad Mahrez, who's not featured in any of the last 4. He's been an unused substitute for at least 3 of those. And he'll be delighted to just even get 3 minutes at the moment. I just wonder how much that missed penalty against Liverpool earlier in the season affected him, because he's been used less and less really since that point. The game at Anfield, which they drew 0-0 of course, since then beat them in the league at the Etihad. As Torreira plays it all the way back to Ederson after City played it out for De Bruyne to receive treatment that he didn't really need in the end.
Got to say, it's been a tough afternoon for Arsenal for sure. They'll be disappointed that the way they conceded the first goal and then conceding the timing of the second goal. But given that, even conversations here, we were wondering, could have this been quite a rout for City? When you look at the defensive problems Arsenal have had, so they've got to try and take some positives out of this if they can, and know what a tough fixture it is. City were always going to produce some sort of reaction after that defeat against Newcastle. So,
Pep Guardiola he said Liverpool won't be worried about our results. We need to perform as well. We need to show them that we're back on our game. Is this the sort of performance that will make Liverpool think that they're going to rampage through teams again, or are they still not quite there?
They're capable of it for sure, and they've done that to a degree today here. But sometimes it's not just that rampaging, that 4-5-0ers. It's grinding out the important victories by maybe a 1-goal win.
Well, this hasn't been a grind at all. They've been wonderful. Ramsey tries to give it to Lacazette for Arsenal, but easy defending for City. And then David Silva tries the ball up towards Mahrez. Guendouzi slid in. He wants to throw himself. He thinks it came off of the Algerian, but Mahrez will take the throw. Thanks to Chris Moores for a picture of Christchurch, New Zealand. It's not quite going to win the best sunshine picture of the day that we've been sent. That one goes back to that one we talked about in Florida, but
it's a lovely evening though, doesn't it?
Does look probably
or morning. Would it be morning?
Thought. Yeah, New Zealand, yeah. Will Floyd Evans says, listening from South Carolina, America, I agree with another listener, listening to you to avoid the stupor bowl, he calls it. Everton supporter feeling evil supporting City here. I was in Liverpool not that long ago, and I'll tell you about this in a second, because City are on the attack again. Is David Silva, spreads it out to the right hand side for Mahrez. Riyad Mahrez cutting in onto his left foot. We've seen him do that a few times. This one flashes wide.
You could almost see his desire. He knew as soon as he started driving in on his left foot what was going to be coming, and he certainly had that aim of getting that shot away at the goal, but
he does that so well, doesn't he? It's almost Arjen Robben-esque, the sort of thing that he does. He's not quite as whippet-like as Robben, but that's that same movement, in off the right-hand side, onto the left foot. You know what he's going to do, but it's very difficult to stop him.
Yeah.
We're into 3 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the day. I was just about to tell you the story of what an Everton supporting taxi driver in Liverpool told me. I said to him, are you one of those planning on emigrating if Liverpool win the league? He said, I'd sell my body to stop them winning the league. He actually used different language to that, but that's the PG-13 rated version. So that's the strength of feeling amongst Evertonians, desperate for Manchester City to win the league. And it's going to take a very good team to keep them out of winning the league, I'll tell you. But Liverpool are a good team as Bernardo Silva releases Sterling. Sterling will do well to keep this in. He has done so brilliantly. Backheeled it to himself. Into the box it goes for David Silva, and his cutback finds only Torreira. Torreira turning with 3 blue shirts around him. He's released it out to the left hand side for Aubameyang. Mark Rogers has sent us a picture of saying too much firepower for the Gunners today. I assume that's you, Mark, in the military uniform, with a picture of some beautiful mountains, actually. Not quite sure where you are, but thanks for that. Thank you to anyone that's got in touch. And we've got a Man City fan saying breakfast with the boys in blue and you, showing their world's best team Manchester City mug. So thanks to you,
red, though.
Debbie. It's got some red hearts, but no, there is a bit of red on there.
I thought it's all red, it's my eyes.
Maybe that's the hue of the photo. That would be weird. It's actually world's best mum, it says on there. So Debbie's enjoying it certainly now. They're going to win all 3 points. It's going to be 3-1.
It's been an impressive performance, hasn't it, from City?
Yeah, it certainly has. They've been in complete control, even just for that spell after Arsenal equalised, I guess, for 20 minutes or so, where they might have had a little bit of difficulty, but they regathered themselves. They got themselves ahead just before half-time, and even at that stage you felt, well, perhaps now they're ahead, they might never relinquish through the points again, and that's exactly as it's proved. Sergio Aguero's hat-trick the difference. Laporte down the left for David Silva. They're still probing for another, aren't they?
Yeah.
Maybe they'll get it here. Gundogan. They won't with a cross like that. It's awful. I think he'll just keep it in. Will Riyad Mahrez? He will to Bernardo Silva. Mahrez thought about the cross, instead just holds it up, gives it back to Bernardo Silva. We're now over the 3 minutes.